Hey, what's up you guys? WyattXFailure here, everyone's favorite YouTuber who stutters and mispronounces, and today doing a topic video. Yes, no gimmicks, no kind of like stupid edits, no terrible excuses for comic relief. We're gonna be serious, guys, for the first time in a while with the topic video because this needs to be discussed because somehow this is relevant still. And that's all about, you know, success apparently leads to failure when it comes to music and especially in the metal scene. And I feel like this idea and thought process is still like thought about roughly mainly because people think bands go through this Metallica effect when they get, you know, onto a bigger label, they get success, and they kind of sacrifice their musical integrity for money, apparently. Everyone has this thought process that it's always going to happen with bands. And this is really relevant, especially today, because in today's news in metal, I guess you could say, Alcest just got signed to Nuclear Blast. And instead of congratulating them like most people should for Alcest with all their hard work being active now for, I think, a little over 2 decades now. They've been at it for a while. Instead of congratulating them and being happy for them, people are legit thinking this is over for them. They might as well disband. There goes Alcest's creativity. They're done. They've gone on to a bigger label. They were such a great band and now it's over for them. All they've done is made the announcement that they're signed to Nuclear Blast and they're going to have an album through Nuclear Blast. That's all they said. We haven't even gotten a teaser or a single, and people automatically assume it's over for the band. It's like, guys, calm the fuck down. Until the album is released, let's stop making assumptions because they got signed to a bigger label. That being said, I will admit I am biased against Nuclear Blast because I will admit, you know, this is not a label I'm crazy for, alright? A lot of bands that are signed to it that I've checked out are either very overproduced, which, you know, just look at the drums in the mix on some of the bands signed to Nuclear Blast. The toms literally sound like Tupperware being hit. It doesn't even sound real, alright? It's so overproduced, it's sterile, it's really predictable how a lot of bands come off, where it's kind of like, I feel like a majority of bands signed to Nuclear Blast, they're more focused on having these kind of like throwaway metal anthems than actually having like some type of like, you know, experimentation or a different thought process, alright? Like, yeah, I'll admit, a lot of bands signed to Nuclear Blast have this kind of like, by the books, gotta get something catchy being thrown into the mix and kind of have like this radio-friendly, accessible sound. I'll admit that with a lot of bands signed to Nuclear Blast, but does that mean that, you know, when a band I've been a fan of for a while gets signed to this label that it's done for them? No, and you should think the same way too. And again, like I said, a lot of people think this Metallica effect is going to happen to Alcest. If anything, you know what's going to happen to Alcest? They're signed to a bigger label, they're going to get more money, which, by the way, a lot of people think, you know, money for bands is such an evil thing. It's like, guys, seriously, it must suck for Alcest. They're getting more money, more success, they get to concentrate more on their music. It's like, oh, what scumbags. Who would want money when it comes to their job? Like, who would want that? Alright, like, let's stop acting like we're in middle school where we think money's such an evil thing. It's something everyone needs to survive, okay? And that's what's happening to Alcest right now. So let's kind of cut this whole, like, middle school thought process that money equals, you know, evilness in music already. It's ridiculous. You know, they're going to get more money, they're going to be able to tour more, they're going to get more merch, they're going to get more represses, they're going to expand, and it's like, what's so bad about that, alright? What is so wrong about a band getting bigger? And the best example I can use that, you know, fits this story, that, you know, let's stop thinking that the Metallica effect is going to happen to bands like this. Look at Revenge, alright? I remember back in 2015, Behold Total Rejection came out for, Revenge put that out. And for the longest time, they were signed to Nuclear War Now, which is pretty much heaven for war metal fanatics and people who like black death metal of a hybrid of bands. That's like, you know, everyone's heaven when it comes to that label. And Revenge was kind of like the staple name for that label. Then they got signed to Season of Mist, and people were freaking the fuck out thinking that, Revenge is gonna dim their sound so they can become more accessible. And then what happens? What happens? They put out Behold Total Rejection, and everyone that year would not stop talking about that damn thing. So they got more critical acclaim by fans, they got more money, they were able to do more shows, and, you know, they're bigger. I mean, now I can go into, like, every record store possible, and I will see something by Revenge, okay? Alright, and that's such a bad thing now. We have this idea, again, that, you know, esoteric means better. No. Alright? No. It's about the musical creativity of a band and what they can do regardless of what label they're signed to that defines them. Not the label, not how big or small they are already. Alright, so Revenge, I think, is a perfect example. Another great example, because, you know, lightning can strike twice in two places, apparently, is Tomb Mold. Alright? They were originally signed to Blood Harvest with their first album. It was phenomenal. Then they got signed to 20 Bucks Spin, which I would say is a much bigger label, and put out Manner of Infinite Form. So, and now, just like what happened to Revenge, they're getting more critical acclaim. It's just as praised as their first album. Their records are selling like wildfire, that there's like another repress for it every other month, and they're doing more shows, they're getting more merch, they're doing more music and staying more active with it because they're getting more of an income to do that. And they already announced another album later this year. Alright, another example for me personally of a band I obsess over is Ungfell. Alright, before, with Topring DR, when they were a small band signed to, I think, Graceless Records, they were only able to put out a cassette tape that sold out really quick. Then they had their sophomore album, which is like Album of the Year for me, and that not only were they able to get on a bigger label, Eisenwald, great label, they were able to put it through vinyl. They're now talking about putting Topring DR on vinyl because they're getting more of an income. They're already talking about doing another release this year, and they're having more merch. So with that success in getting onto a bigger label, they're able to do more. And that's what's happening to Alcest right now. Alright? So let's stop thinking that success leads to failure. It leads to more for the band, alright? And I'll admit, I feel like, you know, how this kind of works into play with the whole Metallica effect, that I can see where people are kind of coming from, is that, yeah, when you get signed to a bigger label, you've been at it for longer, so, you know, you kind of need to change up the sound to kind of go with your musicianship and change it up. You can only do so much with one sound you guys come out through with, alright? And yeah, maybe Alcest might become a tad bit more accessible, maybe. We don't know yet because, again, there hasn't been a teaser for it. So maybe that might happen just because, you know, again, they've been at it for like 2 decades now. So we'll have to wait and see. But regardless, we should stop bashing Alcest for the fact that they got signed to a bigger label and congratulating them for their hard work and success. You know, something that we all want our bands, our favorite bands, to have. So, yeah, just overall, I'm just going to end it with this. Congratulations to Alcest for getting onto a bigger label, and I see nothing but even better things to come for them. And I'm honestly happy for this band that such a creative, well-respected post-black metal band from France is now signed to a much bigger label, and I wish them all the best. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say for this video. Like always, guys, hopefully you guys discovered something new. Thanks for watching, liking, supporting, and subscribing. You guys are the best, and good listens.